Class of '92 is about the journey that the 6 Manchester United players took from the youth team all the way through to the first team. They're an interesting mix of people, different personalities, different characters, but kind of bonded by this friendship that really comes through when you meet them.
We used to have this joke between us, we call it the football agony aunt, that if you had a problem, you could try and explain it through football. So you're like 2-0 down in life with 10 minutes to go, but you will get one chance, and you got to put that chance away. So to look at our problems in terms of football. There's a sense in which, for us, we thought you can tell the story of 90s Britain and what happened there through the story of these boys, so that made it all the more interesting.
We turned up at Old Trafford and we met up with Paul Scholes, David Beckham and Gary Neville, and they basically took us around the stadium and kind of spoke about their memories in different places. It was nice to sort of walk the corridors of Old Trafford with those guys, you know. So it's a really amazing experience. Just eavesdrop on a conversation between Paul Scholes, Gary Neville and David Beckham was just great fun.
It's shoes as well, blue shoes.
Do you like them? Paul Smith.
Your feet got smaller, by the way.
You can interview someone for hours on end, but you're going to get a certain rapport with them. But when you watch them talk to their close mates, their teammates, obviously you see a slightly different side to them. And as I say, being privy to that was very enlightening, and it kind of got across the sense of what we wanted to do, which was you see the guys in a kind of more relaxed environment.
They put us through everything, really. We did put us through everything. You know, we actually used to go and sell tickets in the commercial office, didn't we? Remember?
So,
yeah.
No, I worked in the
souvenir shop.
The souvenir shop, yeah.
So you got posted in the souvenir shop in the commercial department selling tickets as kids.
Stocking the shelves up, souvenir shop.
You should have stayed there, to be fair, guys.
Oh yeah, ticket selling and media was absolutely brilliant and wonderful. It was the football, like I said, that created the problem. But they used to put us in different places and test us all the time.
Part of filming with people like that is you sort of put it out of your mind what massive kind of stars, what big icons they are, and then every now and then you come around the corner and all the kids would be like screaming or trying to mob them and get autographs. It was amazing.
This is where we'd wait for an hour and a half before the game, and sit around. All 6 of us would sit around there in the same seats every match.
Knowing that one of us at one point was going to get called out by the gaffer.
It's just send kiddo in for one of us, isn't it?
That's why we were just to hide around there.
They haven't filled your caps in yet, or mine. Oh, they have to fill mine in. You must think you're still in the playbacks. You must think you're... Oh no, you only retired, didn't you, a few weeks ago? They'll do it now, won't they?
What they want to see is you and the old kids, trust me. Otherwise, toss will be out of business.
It's going to look amazing.
Trust me, you're going to look amazing, the old kids.
Old Trafford is surrounded by statues and monuments. Obviously there's the Munich, the statue to Best, Charlton and Law and Matt Busby, and it's steeped in the history of the club. And we went to the museum with the players, and it's kind of amazing to see them, now they've retired, sort of passing into legend, becoming part of the folklore of the club. And there's a section in the museum that's about the class of '92. And so to see those guys in there looking at the stuff about themselves, it was kind of strange, but kind of amazing. I hope it comes through in the film, that stuff of them passing into legend, although we wanted to keep it quite immediate as to where they are now, because the next phase of their life is just starting, so it's not really part of the story. What they're going to do next is in motion at the moment.
Con Scholes,
Have you seen whose name's on the back of that shirt?
Whose?
I bet you won't guess.
Greening.
No.
Jasper.
Jasper.
Your favourite shirt?
So that was your favourite one, Gaz?
That one there at the back. His favourite United shirt, that.
Why?
Just the reflected badge, I just always think it looked good. Probably because we won and it helps.
Probably.
Not sure about this one. Is that your
That
thing
yours,
shirt?
Bags?
Must be.
Yeah,
It's the size
must
of it.
be. Wondered where it went.
It's a Munich memorial game. They're at Cantona 11.
David Beckham and Paul Scholes England shirts from June '98. Where's your ink? Where's yours?
There's only one England shirt in there, man.
Am I missing something?
Small one.
What?
Must have been a small one. And your boots backs.
Do you remember how cold it was in Bromby when we played?
Bromby.
Yeah.
Have you donated these to the museum?
Yeah. Great game, that one, at Barcelona.
Away? At home?
Home.
Yeah. Not for a defender, it wasn't. Neither game was.
They can't be Giggs's, can they?
Yeah, they are Giggs's
Or
there.
Pallies.
No chance.
Pallies.
Massive.
Coles.
Gotta be Pallies.
Coles.
Coles or Giggs's, I ain't tell you.
Pallies. Gotta be Pallies. The size of
No. Oh, Schmeichel's.
Nice to be among all this, isn't it, I suppose? So, you know, you with people that you watch playing when you was a kid, when you was at school, you know, your Brian Robsons, and you know, to be part of all that's amazing. I think we had a lot to thank that team for, really. You know, the Bruces, the Palaces, the Schmeichels, the Dennis Irwins, the Brian Robsons, Mark Hughes, Eric Cantona's, because I think they were the ones who were under the real pressure, because they hadn't won it for, I don't know how many years it was. It was a long time, and we came along really just to try and sustain and carry on what they had done.
That was still the best league. The first year they won it, wasn't it?
That team was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant
I think
team.
that team, Kanchelskis, Giggsy, was Giggsy in that team?
Yeah.
Sharpie, and the football they played was incredible, wasn't it?
I didn't know it was you! You are shouting, I didn't know it was you! Yeah, horrible man, yeah. I didn't know it was you. God almighty, where you been? Nowhere. I've been away for 20 years. I can't believe this. My wife to be my little girl. How are you? Yeah, good. Nice to see you. Nice to see you again, mate. Are you? You drink that, do, won't it? Judge's Switzer. Stay off them weights, you, mate. Fucking hell. Oh, hey, it's all right. Pump myself up before you come there. Fucking hell.
In the days leading up to it, again, when you're putting something like that together, you're just thinking about the practical side of what you're doing. What I mean is like making sure everyone's there on time and it happens, and that that you're going to be able to film it and you've got everything in place. But as we built up to it, it started to be clear that it was actually quite a big deal, especially for the players who hadn't made it from the class of '92, who played with Giggsy and Becks and Scholes when they were kids and hadn't seen them since then. When we arrived there and all the players were together, it did feel like it was something that was a bit of an honour to be a part of, and to have hooked up. It was special beyond just the shoot of the film. It was pretty magical.
Right, we're just about to go in and meet all the lads that we used to play with when we were younger. You know what I mean, Gabe? Was that good, that? Was that good enough for you? Come on! Do it again. Do it again. Rewind. When I got the call,
I couldn't believe it. I'd actually, the person who told me about it, I had to phone them back 3 times just to say, look, I know my mates and that do pranks, and they wind me up. So I had to phone him back at least 3 times to say, look, be serious. To get a chance to come back and play with the best players in the world, really. The trophy, over 100 trophies. It's a special moment.
Yes, Phil? Yes, yeah. Cast, man! Yes, Phil? Yes, yeah. Cast, man! Lost him. Oh my God! I can't wait till Jamie Cannon goes off Sky. He's far better. We're almost there. Oh! We're almost there. Cast. I'm buckled in that. I'm buckled.
John. No, don't feel it. I'm not letting it.
Right.
Today we are about to interview David Beckham, which obviously is quite a fun part of the film. We're all pretty excited about that. Well, these guys have been interviewed over and over and over again, and because of their sort of status in football, because of the nature of the game, they've learnt to say absolutely nothing when they get interviewed. I mean, they're really experienced at it. They give you a few football cliches and they want to get out of there as quick as possible so they don't get into any trouble. So we were worried in the first instance about interviewing them to try and get past that. I think also people have heard their story, they watched their story unfold, and they know a lot about them.
It was funny because in the first few interviews, we prepped hard. Like, we had 5 or 6 pages of notes of questions we wanted to ask. And by the end, we kind of got rid of most of those questions. By the last few interviews, we were just like, the only way of doing this is just to sit down and have a chat. It's not like we don't know who they are, the sort of their public persona and what they've done in the game. We know that, you know, we watched it for 10, 15, 20 years, you know, so it was just sit down, have a chat and just try and put an environment there that makes them feel comfortable to just give you a kind of insight into what it was like to do what they did.
In one game, one of the players, I think we were playing Liverpool, and one of the young lads, I think it was either Butty or Cole Brown, actually it might have been Ben Thornley at the time, got absolutely smashed by some player unfairly. And the next minute I remember Brian Robson just taking exactly the same player out and not illegally, but hitting him really hard, just a typical Brian Robson tackle. And I think we all looked around at each other and we all smiled because, you know, being looked after by someone like Brian Robson, you know, it doesn't get much better than that.
My debut was in '92, and I remember going to the Midland Hotel in the afternoon. I thought, this is a bit posh. I'd never seen anything like it before. It was like massive room, big hotel. Slept in the afternoon, not thinking really about anything. And then he said to me, "You're on the bench." Game continues to go by, and then with 2 minutes to go, he says, "You're going on." And I didn't have time to get nervous. I didn't have time to think what's happening. I just remember standing on the touchline, running on, only getting one touch of the ball, and that was the throw-in. symptomatic of my career, I think. And I always remember Gary Pallister getting a bollocking after the game because I had a long throw, and the boss said to him, "Do you not remember? So did you not come and watch the youth team, you Pallister? Why weren't you up in the box then? Neville's got a long throw, you should know that." And thinking, I'm sat there as a kid, 17 at the time, all these players around him and he's having a go at Pally.
You know, like in your first day at work, the second year apprentices would have you, with a calendar saying who's your favourite player at dinner time, and I'd always say Brian Robson, and I had to put a calendar of Brian Robson on a mop. I'd have to chat it up, mop up, and say, do you want to dance with a mop and stuff. And it was a crazy thing, but it was good to get us into the way of thinking. Everyone was having a laugh together, and then before you knew it, you was part of the clique and part of the clan, really.
Well, the latest one, the Carrick one, have you heard that one? When it's not Scholes. Can't believe it's not Scholes, it's Carrick, Can't believe it's not Scholes. That's brilliant, that one.
What about the other?
Bex didn't have one, did he? Yeah. Butties was good. Yeah, Butties was good. Na 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 na. Nicky Butt, Nicky Butt, Nicky Butt. That was a good one. Scholes got one. Scholes is a good one. They're usually good at that. I mean, the United fans with songs are usually brilliant at that. And I'm lucky enough to have a couple with my name. I wasn't too happy when Phil nicked my song. I mean, he did 2 step-overs and then all of a sudden he gets my song. So I wasn't too happy when I'm playing in a game and I'm thinking, oh, they're singing my song, for the first few seconds, and then Phil will tell you, whoa, that's not right. Phil, no, it's my song. He's done a couple of step-overs, and
no, I'd say on nights out, I think I just used to laugh at Nicky and Ryan, the stuff where good dancers, you know what I mean? It was just entertainment watching them two just rip the piss out of each other all night. It was good, and they rip the piss out of each other, and Nicky might have a bit of a dig at Phil or something. He might try and batter him or throw him. I think one night in town actually we tried to throw Phil Neville in a bin. No, let me go. Gotta go home. Me and Nicky were trying to pick him up and put him in a bin outside the living room in town.
You don't leave Old Trafford. You don't leave Man United. You might go and play for another club anywhere in the world, but your heart never leaves Old Trafford. And you're talking about a group of lads that not only just support Man United, but would die for Man United. I went to a game. It was Paul Scholes' return day after his retirement. We went to Man City in the FA Cup, and it was a Sunday. It was freezing cold, and David came up from London. We went to the game, and we were sat watching the game, and City fans had obviously noticed David and was giving a little bit of stick, and he was very calm, very, very composed. The game kicks off and he's still composed, and then Man United score, and you look across and you've got Bex jumping up, his dad jumping up, me jumping up, and I'm playing for Everton. Bex is playing for the LA Galaxy and AC Milan. Ted's not probably, supporting his son, and that's the United feeling.
Stretford End was where I used to go, man. It was 30p in Stretford Juniors, and every now and again you'd sneak up into the Stretford seats or something. It was horrible, but it was great. I've seen some amazing. I've been party to some amazing stuff there. We used to sit with my brother, the little brother, on the railings at the front with his wagon wheel and his Chiora, and there's a rite of passage thing there. We've been away on tour in Europe and stuff like that, and there's games on, and we've actually kept people waiting an hour and a bit while we've watched them in dressing rooms. Even making that second coming LP with the Stone Roses, that took about bloody 5-6 years to do. We'd finished it, and Ian Brown is also absolutely crazy United boy. He come up to me and says, it's going to be a good year next year. What do you reckon? I says, yeah, I reckon we'll win the FA Cup and win the league. He was on about the Roses album, and I was just immediately thinking about what United we're going to do next year.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Gabe, good to meet you.
Hi, Gabe. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ben. This is our crew.
Gary Neville was excellent. Really.
Sorry.
Just kind of.
He's very articulate, Gary. Isn't he?
He's sort of the best of them in that sense. And then David Beckham was unbelievably emotional, which was amazing. So he talked about sort of '98, and then sort of returning to sort of everyone's favourite, as it were. But he was brilliant. And then Scholes talked much more than I think anyone expected him to, which was nice. And then Nicky Butt was very funny. Yeah. So we're just waiting for Ryan Giggs and Phil Neville when they get back from, I think, Australia. And then we're going to France to do the Stone Roses next week. And then Danny Boyle gets back in the beginning of August and we're doing him.
Actually, the thing I will never forget about the treble was that I had to go and do a big event in Wales that was actually related to devolution with the Queen on the evening of the Man U European final. And we were constantly sending out for the score. And I remember, you know, this was obviously with just a very short time in the match to go. The guy was a sort of guy who used to come in like a sort of announcer, like a herald, because, you know, everything was very formal with the Queen, and would sort of give the score. And so he came in and said it's 1-0, you know, obviously to the opposition. And then a few moments later, it's 1-1. And I remember we were saying, no, I thought you said it was 1-0. He said, no, it's 1-1. And then he comes in about a few seconds later, says, no, it's 2-1. So, no, I thought you said it was 1-1. No, it's all changed. You know, so anyway, that's what I remember about that night. But it was, that was, of course, those were the halcyon days, weren't they?
Paul Scholes. There's something about that guy arriving from midfield to hit those balls, you know, that's your memory of him. Your memory of him is the busyness, you know, that constant, that busyness, that just like those Barcelona midfielders who look to me like they're all based on him personally, you know, but he's got the ginger head and the kind of like the scurrying movement, and it's just that constant movement, and there is nothing more beautiful than seeing him arrive in that hole. Everybody's faffing about in the penalty area. There's a big hole outside the penalty area, outside the penalty box, and there he is arriving. You can see him on the right of screen, on the left of screen. You see him just arriving for a screamer. That's one of the kind of great moments in life, I think, seeing Paul Scholes arrive for a screamer.
We thought when we approached this that it was Eric Cantona who set the tone for training after practice. That was always the myth. The voice said it was Gary Neville. Yeah. Beckham said when he scored against Wimbledon that he was more excited by Eric Cantona giving him a nod saying that's a good goal than the goal itself. Yeah. So they did have him in, you know, they really played.
Clearly, well, you would do, wouldn't you? Because, you know, that touch, and it was so rare in British football at that time.
Yeah, when I arrived, the Giggs was playing. Yeah. And now I retired, 15 years ago, and he still play. It's crazy. And I spoke with Ferguson 1 or 2 years ago, and he said in training he's still the first. You know? He can run for hours. He's fast, but sometimes you have players fast like this, but they're not so much, I don't know in English the word, but in French it's endurance. Endurance. You know, they can run for hours.
No, I think after beating Juve then, at home, it sort of gave us the belief that we could go on and do well in Europe.
I think any game we played at home, even in the early days, we always looked like we were okay and comfortable because of the fans and the night atmosphere, the tempo was always high. But when we went away from home, I felt like even against lesser teams like Vienna and teams like that, we always seemed to struggle with possession. I thought it was just a learning curve, I think, and we got to grip with that after 2 or 3 years. From an early age, we were told what to expect from the club, no expectations of teams gone by, and obviously the great Busby Babes, and even with the Youth Cup thing, winning that was like always looking back to the Busby Babes and emulating them, and the next thing was bringing us all through to the first team, which we did. And then obviously
the European Cup, which was a massive thing for the club, and we're quite fortunate to have the people that won that European Cup around us and being near us every day in training and coming around and playing with us, and we got to know them really well. So they informed us about it all the time. So I think that was massively important for us, especially for me.
You think about Nobby used to train us, didn't he? Nobby
Styles,
Styles,
Ryan
Kiddo.
Kidd, so Bobby.
So Bobby was around all the time.
All these great players.
Yeah.
To have them there and explain to us what it's like to win it, and the expectation of the club, I think that
I don't think
embedded into what
you would have Sir Bobby Charlton training with you in European away games, and he was just, you know, he still had the dip of the shoulder, didn't he? Right foot, left foot, pinging the ball.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have that in any other club, and I think you just, even if you don't get told about the history and the traditions, it's just there in front of you.
We started doing it with David. We put the tar up on the wrong side of the goal, and like David, I think probably just didn't want to tell us for some reason, or he just didn't want to sort of cause any trouble, whatever. So we tied the tar up on the other side, the side that he doesn't go for. So he had a few attempts, and he was, I mean, we're talking about like inches of not getting it, but he didn't get it for a few goes. And he just sort of, kind of sheepishly said, look, ideally I'd sort of have it on the other side, if that's all right. And we're like, yeah, of course, no problem. So we took the tar off, we tied it up on the other side. First time, went round the other side, straight through. Kind of looked at us like, maybe you should have done your research. So my aim for every single shoot we had with the guys was at some point to get to play a little bit of football with them. We managed to do that with most of the guys. When we shot their slates, the pressure wasn't really on. We just had to get a shot to open up their section with. So we would have some time to have a kick around with them all, which was really orchestrated by us so that we could have a kick around with the greatest players of our generation. So with Scholesy, we tried to chip the ball in the cones like he did, and I managed to get one in, and there was no camera, so it was never documented, and I was very upset about that. So when we met with gigs, and you guys were there, I was adamant that I would stand up to the challenge. So yeah, we played crossbar challenge.
Oh, yeah.
All I can think of is if Ryan Giggs doesn't hit the crossbar with this next shot, then I've beaten Ryan Giggs at crossbar challenge. That's something which I can take to the grave. I can tell all my mates, and not only can I tell them, but I'm someone who likes to tell a story. I could be known as an embellisher, maybe. I don't know. I thought if I don't have actual hard proof of this, no one's going to believe me. It's possibly the greatest story I'm ever going to tell.
This is it. It's really dead. Take your time. Take your time, this is it. It's just a bit behind you. He's going to do one thing for us.
He just steps up nonchalantly and just absolutely cracks the crossbar, and I'm out. I'm done. I've only drawn with him. It's half the story. But at least we kind of celebrated together. And I got that on camera, so it looks like me and Giggs here, cool, which is nice. In the last few months doing this film have made us realise how lucky it is that A, we work together, and B, we get to work on projects that are so much part of our passion and who we were as kids. Spending time with those guys was unbelievable. I mean, not many people get to sit with Paul Scholes for about 4 hours, interview him and then go kick a football around with him. Really, we just wanted to just tell a story of 6 mates who took on the world. And unlike most of us, one